I didn't see you there. It's Thomas Edwards. I'm on a road trip to pick up something very, very special, but I'll let you know in a bit what it is. But in the meantime, we're on a road trip, so we've been going for about an hour already, but it'll take another hour to get there. But when we get there and we pick it up, I'll show you on the way back what it is, because I don't think I'll film when I get there because I'll be too busy. But I'll show you then what it is. See you in a bit. Oh, so it's the next day, and we got there. And we got what we were looking for, and I'll show you in a minute what we've got. But I'm filming the next day because it was too wet last night and too dark. And on the way home, I'll drop in a video now of what it was like coming home last night. It was pretty horrendous coming back last night. So you can see that now. But in the bag, I don't know if you can see, but we got what we picked up. But I'll show you in a minute exactly what it is. But we went and got it, and it was good. We had good fun. But I'll show you in a minute and explain what it is. So look, we've got a Rover BRM interior. Look, and a centre console down there, and a seat, and a door. You can't really see because it's all jammed into the back of the car, and there's door cards on top. But that's what we went to pick up, and we met a very nice lad and his friends, and he had a yard full of Rovers, and he had this BRM in there. Well, he was going to save, but it was too far gone. All the roof was completely rotten. But as Rover BRMs are getting valuable, they're worth more in parts now, so he decided to part it out. And I found him through a friend on Facebook who said, oh, he's got, because I was after some red seat belts, but we ended up buying a full interior off him because we needed one for one of our cars. But we went there, we picked it up. Well, we stripped it and picked it up. But it's normally dead straightforward to take BRM interiors out, but because this car was so rusty, it rusted all the bolts up, like on the seats here. All these are rusted up, we couldn't get them out, but we got them out eventually. But the seats, I've never seen seats like it. They're really mint. They haven't got shiny, proper leather should be matte, like that. Yeah, I'll show you when they get them out properly. But because it came out of a really low mileage car. But we're well happy with them. They're going to be a good home in this car we sat in now. So I'm going to do a build, I think, about it. But I'll show you when we get it out. When this rain stops, we'll get them out and I'll show you what I've got. There you go, here's the seats out of a Rover 200 BRM. They look a bit dirty, but they're actually not bad, to be honest. This is the driver's one, and they normally wear here and wear here. Even though this is a bit cracked, with a bit of hide through and a good clean, this will keep this from going any worse. It's a bit weak there, I think it's a bit collapsed there, but they're not split, because we've got another pair of these in another car, and they split up here, or split down here. So these are not bad. There's a bit of thing, but these will be a good restoration. We've got a steering wheel there, proper two-tone BRM steering wheel, and then down over here we've got heating fascia with the knobs. There's always, you know, people just normally sell the knobs, they don't sell the fascia, so we managed to get the fascia, quite hard to get hold of there. Handbrake, all matching, and then we got a pair of door cards. And for people in the know, these go, they disintegrate on the back, but you can repair them, or there's a guy on eBay called Peasant Life who does remolds, where you take the levers and put them on the remolds. But this is the driver's one. You normally go on the top here, and this hasn't. It has gone there, but that's quite a classic thing, but they normally really go on the top, and this hasn't. This one has on the passenger, but there is a really good nick, because it only came up with a 70,000 mile car. So they're really good nick they are. And then also we got in the boot, got matching seat belts. These are not going in this car, these are going in another car. I've got to clean these up. You know, these are quite sought after, everyone loves the red seat belts. And in here there's lots of bits. There's a window switch off the centre console, what's in there. But I put a video in where I explain what a Rover 200 BRM is, because not many people know what they are, and they're quite sought after car in the community. But over here we got some black levers what are going back in this car so we can use it. But eventually this interior is going in that ZR. But we have another ZR at home what has a BRM interior like this in it. But once these are cleaned up, these look really good. And we got some rear BRM door cards as well here. And we got also in here, these are Rover BRM sill plates, what we have in another car as well. Because we have another ZR that has a full BRM interior in, and we'll hopefully do the same in this one. And there's the back seats for the BRM. I put them in yesterday so I could pack it easier. But they're coming out today because I need to go clean, and the black levers will go back in. So yeah, that's everything we got yesterday. That was our trip. We went to pick all this interior up off a very nice lad. It was you know, in the Rover community, all the people are always really nice, dead helpful. We had a good time and a good laugh. It was good. So we're going to put these in storage for now, and then come back another day and clean them. So I'm sure we'll do lots more Rover BRM interior videos where we'll fit this car out with it and show you what we do and how you fit the door cards, because what I haven't mentioned is the door cards are a straight fit to a ZR, but you have to get the door handles and the door rods off a Rover 200 to make the door cards fit, so they work properly. Because you can put the ZR door handles, but it's a bit naff, you can't, because those door cards have an insert. I probably can't find them, they're in there somewhere. They have an insert where the door handle goes, and you can't really fit the ZR door handle for it, so you have to do a 200 conversion. So yeah, that's everything pretty much now. But I'll tell you in a minute on another piece and show you some pictures what a Rover 200 BRM looks like and what the history is about them and why are they a rare car. So yeah, signing off. So a bit of history about the Rover BRM. So BRM, the name itself, came back from early 60s when Rover made a gas turbined car, what was called Rover BRM, and BRM standing for British Racing Motors. So they designed this gas turbine car, and it was going to be, I think it was one of the first gas turbines to complete the Le Mans, 24-hour Le Mans, in 63, I think, or 64. I think it did quite a few Le Mans for about a 4-year period. But this car, if you looked at it, if you look online, it's green, and it looks very similar to what the Rover 200 BRM is homorising it back to. So, I don't know, go how many years down the line, 10, 20, say 30 years down the line, Rover decides, oh, let's do a car that, you know, looks like our history, and you know. And remember, in the late 90s, a lot of cars were doing that. Jaguar were doing it at the S-Type, and when the X-Type came out, they were looking like old cars, and Rover themselves doing the Rover 75. That looked like an old car, you know, with its chrome-like pinstripe down the side. Not it's gold, it's chrome pinstripe down the side, and it's classy sort of look. And the interiors were looking old, so they were like, oh, let's do this. Let's do a really fast but old looking car. Well, old looking colours, I should say. So they got the Rover R3 body, what's the bubble shaped body, for the 200. And they already, up to that point, had the 200 VI, what was an 1800 with a vertical valve system in it, a VVC engine, and that was a bit of a, what they call it, what's the word, a sleeper, bit of a sleeper, because it looked dull, but it went like stink. So they went, right, we'll use one of them, but we'll paint it dark green, put a nice interior in it, put the Homrage like orange front snout on it, put a few other goodies on it. So that's what they did, and they came up with the Rover 200 BRM, what this interior is out of, what we've got today. So the 200, but it was a limited run car, so they only did 795 of them, but there were always tales that they did a bit more than 795, and a few prototypes what scrapped. And it was a bit of a marmite car when it came out. People either loved it or hated it, but I think it came out at the wrong time. It should have come out a lot later. If that came out today, people would love it, but back in the late 90s, no one really wanted a vintage looking sporty hatch. You know, sporty hatches today are mega. You know, people are buying VXR Corsas, Golf GTIs, BMW with their 1 Series 140 hatch. You know, really super fast cars, you know, what got a hatchback. So this was before its time. So, you know, they're a good looking car, you know, British Racing Green, but they got the silver side strips and silver door handles and mirrors, and they've got like the silver around the bumpers, and then the rest is the British Racing Green and the orange snout, what people either hate or don't. But I have seen there's a car up for sale at the moment on Facebook what's got a silver snout on it, and apparently that isn't, someone hasn't done that after. Apparently from factories, you know, it's like from the dealer, some guy didn't want the orange, so he paid 150 quid extra to get it sprayed silver. And they do look better silver, but to be honest, I do like an orange, you know, it's a bit of a, you'd probably have two, wouldn't you? Half an orange one and a silver one. So yeah, so it was based on an R3 body, like I said, but one of the special things about it was it wasn't just, it had an 1800 VVC in it, and it had sway bars back and front, lower suspension, you know, and a ABS and whatever. It was his interior what sort of stood it out from the crowd. It wasn't like Ford was doing at the time, were putting like leather bucket seats in cars. They were more like plush leather seats rather than bucket seats. Now they don't really hold you around the corners, but they're comfy. So they put a nice red interior in it, it's like a coach colour, you know, it's like a vinyl coach colour, what you get off 1950s buses. It's very British colour. I think it's probably the colour what they used in the race car and the old racing seat. So yeah, they put this nice interior in it, and they put a red centre console, door cards are matching, and then the rest all like the fittings were aluminium, so the gear knob, the heater controls, speakers on the doors, bits around the door handles are aluminium, so it was all very, very good looking inside, very old looking but very nice. And they put it out to the world, and it didn't really sell. And when the 25 was coming in 2000, they were still stuck with these BRMs. There were still lots in the dealerships, they couldn't shift them, so they kept reducing them to, I think they were really cheap to sell. But since then, people think they're loads of money, they're worth loads of money, and some are worth loads of money, but at the same time they're not, because it's just a 200 with a body kit on and a nice interior, that's all it is. You know, so some people put them on for like 6 grand, you're like, that's daft. You know, they're worth about 1,500 to 2 grand, you know, 3 grand tops. That's what they're worth. But what's the shame about them, they're in this odd period at the moment where they're worth more in parts than buying the whole car. So what flies off the shelves, so to speak, is the interior. Someone gets one and goes, well, it's too much to really do it up. It needs body work, you know, because they rust. A very classic Rover thing where they just rot. So the interiors get took out and sold, usually on eBay. And there again, that's another grey area. People think these interiors are worth like 400 or 500 quid, and they're worth about 250, 300 quid. Really, you know, they're worth money, but they're not worth money. Some of the bits are worth, because they've got red seatbelts, they're worth money, and the steering wheels are worth money, and the gear knob and the centre console are worth money, but the seats themselves don't seem to fetch that much. But they do, people do buy them, do love them, because we've got another car with another full BRM interior, and this one what we're doing up in this video. So we've got two BRM interiors between the two cars now. So the interiors are nice, but that's what we do like, because we have both cars are blue, and the red interior looks smart in a blue car. But you just got to think that the sad thing is that these interiors that we're taking out and putting in our cars, it's all very well, but just think they came out with a really nice car and those cars are being scrapped or raced. That's another thing, people race them so they get stripped. Because a few years, last year, one came in the scrapyard, local scrapyard, and it was like, wow. And it'd been stripped for, it was a race car. Some local guy had it as a race car. He still had a couple bits what we needed, because at the time we were doing a conversion on ours, on a Rover car, I mean. And we needed 200 door handles, so we took all them out of it. But yeah, that's pretty much what a Rover BRM is. So if you didn't know, go and look them up. You either like them or you don't. But you might like them and you might buy one yourself, you know. And the dream is if one comes up for a good price, well, we'll get one. And either get rid of one of the ZRs or just have a collection of Rovers, pretty much, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much what they are. There's lots of details you could go into about them. There's lots of the purists out there will tell you a lot more about them than I can, but that's pretty much a rough idea. But as I'm talking here, there'll be photos and you'll see what they look like. But anyway, that's what the history of a BRM, well, a Rover 200 BRM is. Right, so that's the end of the BRM video, well, BRM interior video. So we've been up and picked the interior up, and this ending's actually filmed a couple of days later, and we've done a few things on the seats already. So the driver's seat was all rusted up, so we've got a hammer to it with a bit of persuasion and knocked it so it will slide again. And I had a good look at the interior, and it looks really good. There's a couple of things we need, but more on that on the next video. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. It's going to be a part one of probably quite a few videos in a series, I think, of doing up a BRM interior and fitting it to an MG ZR. So stay tuned, and we hope to see you next time. But before you go, make sure give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a comment. Tell us if you've got a BRM, because we'd like a real one really, but tell us if you've got a real BRM, or tell us if you've got a, I don't know, Rover 25, 200 or ZR with a BRM interior in. It'd be interesting to know how many of you have got one, because, you know, there's not many interiors about, but they seem to float around at the moment. You know, there's quite a few being scrapped and the interiors are being sold off. So I think there's more BRM interiors in a normal like ZR25 than there is in a proper BRM, so it'd be interesting to know that. So anyway, and also remember to click that big bell.